So we learned a little bit from what we've done before, and what I've learned is maybe I still need to make sure I do videos before we start any lesson whatsoever, even if I think that lesson is a very simple lesson of math that you already know. So we're going to look at this one about the AQR tire ratios. If you're in my morning classes, you're working on this one today. If you're in my afternoon classes, you are going to obviously see this on another day. Okay. Then my objective for you is to understand how tire aspect ratios affect a vehicle. And basically what you're seeing here is like how different tire sizes can affect a vehicle in their speedometer, in their odometer, and again how you're using ratios to do that. So let's kind of look at this. Okay, so I have a Honda Odyssey. My Honda Odyssey, the size of the tire is recommended to be a P235 65R 17. And for those of you who don't know, which probably is quite a few, this is what it means. Well, the P means that it's a passenger tire. Well, and actually you can get all this stuff. It's on the second page of the handout. So you can see here, I'm trying to explain this a little bit further, that the width is 235 millimeters. That's what the 235 is. The aspect ratio is 65, which we'll explain a little bit more later. And the diameter of the rim is 17 inches. Now, we also need to notice here that they're talking about millimeters and inches. So you're probably going to have to do some conversions where you do both, or convert it back to inches, so everything's in one unit. So keep in mind that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters, or 25.4 millimeters. Okay, so those are some things to kind of remember there. Anyways, one of the pages you're presented with a table, and it tells you to get the width. Okay, so fill in the width. You can find that. Get the aspect ratio, which is actually a percent, and you're going to see that in a second. That aspect ratio is that the height divided by the width would give you the aspect ratio, the 65%. So basically the height is 65% of the width. Okay, so if you go backwards, you can find out that 0.65 times 235 would tell you that the height of this is 152.75 millimeters. Change that to inches. We can do that. Most of y'all should remember how to do this like from science class. Like you put the 152.75 millimeters times, and then since it takes 1 inch for every 25.4 millimeters, we can put 1 inch on top, 25.4 millimeters on the bottom, so that way the millimeters would cancel out, leaving me nothing but inches. And then you can divide, and that would give you 6.038 or 138 inches. Okay, now the diameter of the tire rim is 17 inches. The diameter of the tire, or I guess from the outer section of the tire, that's what they're working here, is 2 times the height, because the height would be from, say, this edge to this edge, plus 17, and you get 29.028. Then the circumference, I would multiply that times pi, because the diameter times pi is the circumference, and I get my circumference is 91.1928 inches. Now what does that mean? That means that as you go around on the tire, as the tire goes around, every time it goes all the way around, like that, okay? So all the way around like that, it will travel 91.28 inches. So if you marked off like a little point on your tire, you could use that to help you measure how far you've gone in so many whatevers. So, for example, now keep in mind you need to know that 1 yard is equal to 36 inches and 1,760 yards is equal to 1 mile. So when your odometer says 1,520 miles, because I chose purposely a low number, then you would say do your conversions just like you did in science, and that's what this is showing, and you would find out that you would have gone 9,600, wait, was it? I'm sorry, 96,307,200 inches. Every revolution is 91 point, let's say 193 inches. So if you divide, you find out that your car tire in the 1,520 miles will have gone through 1,056,081 revolutions. Okay, so it will have gone around over 1,000,000 times. Now that is again the tire at this. That was the factory one. That's the one that they gave you, or that's the one that they gave me. That's the one that it's supposed to be fitted with. Now I did check Discount Tire, and it is possible to get another one. Okay, what's going on here? I'm a little confused. Okay, I'm a lot confused. But anyways, okay, so that's the tire that they gave me. Well, what happens if I buy a slightly bigger tire? Because I checked Discount Tire and there's different sizes I could buy, and they say +0, plus whatever. So I went ahead and said I just chose one that was at a +0. So it's not really much bigger, but you know, does that make even a small difference? You're going to have to do this on your lesson with a bigger tire, quite a bit bigger, and that will actually give you a little bit bigger difference than what we're going to do. Anyways, 255, notice that's only 60% of the aspect ratio. Still has a little bit bigger height, which means a little bit more diameter, which means a little bit more circumference. And it doesn't look like much, but let's look at something here. In the worksheet, they give you a formula and tell you how to find K. Well, K is the factory over the new one, or no, I'm sorry, the new one over the factory. And so my K in this case is 1.0065. So the new tire circumference over the old, or I'm sorry, the bigger tire circumference over the factory installed circumference. And what happens here, if it was not properly aligned, just looking at the mileage, it says do the K times the miles, and my 1,520 miles would suddenly become 1,521. My speed at 85 miles per hour would still be 85.06. So not really much difference in speed here, because but you do notice I am getting, every so often I'm adding an extra mile. So like, let's say in 20,000 miles or 30,000 miles, I would have added, you know, a few extra miles to my speedometer, and my car would not, you know, would actually maybe react a little differently. Now again, I chose a very small tire size in the sense of I didn't go to one that was much different. You're going to see a bigger difference with the assignment that you're doing. But the point there is that unless it's properly aligned and configured, like the computer's reset and stuff like that, you would have a difference. And so I think that's kind of like a lot of what they're trying to see. Now, there are other questions, of course, but this is to help y'all get started. And if you do have any questions, feel free to ask. Send them through to me on Edmodo, or, you know, just let me know anytime you need to. All right? Well, that's it for today, and that's it for now. Thank you very much.